Hey everybody, it is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading today. Today is a reading to say goodbye to Saturn in Pisces. And it has been a long journey. Saturn has been in Pisces since early spring of 2023. And we have now shifted energy to Saturn in Aries, but I thought it would be nice to do a reading to kind of take a look at the energy of the last couple of years as Saturn was in Pisces and kind of go over the major lessons that were learned in that particular area of your life. Now, for many of us, we are going to be learning new messages, new lessons now that Saturn has moved into Aries. And it's a perfect rainy day today to sit back and kind of reflect on some of the things that were learned in Saturn and Pisces. It was not the easiest time for me. I'm guessing it hasn't been for you all either. And I know we've been living in some very tough times as well too. So I just want to send a heartfelt hug out to the rest of you all who are here today, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me on this journey. I know there's been big gaps and moments when I've been here and been gone and been elsewhere. And a lot of that has to do with the physical health issues that I was experiencing in 2025 and 2024, to be honest with you guys. I was having health issues as early as 2024 for me. So um, hopefully Saturn in Aries is a little bit nicer to us, and we'll cross our fingers. Okay. Not that I believe that the planets are like inflicting punishment upon us. I really don't believe that. I do think some periods of life are tougher than others. And, hopefully we'll see in this reading why that was for those of you that had a tough Saturn in Pisces transit, or even if you didn't have a tough transit, even if you're just here to see, what lessons did I learn over the last couple of years, we're going to take a look in this reading. So for pile number 1, we have Pillar of Light. If you're drawn to the energy of pile number 1 in this card here, you'll choose pile number 1 or Pillar of Light. For pile number 2, we have Align Your Life. Align Your Life. And you can see the multifacetedness here in pile number 2, but also kind of how everything's all over the place, which is very Pisces. Okay. So you have card number 2 with Align Your Life. And I should say for pile number 1 too, if you're thinking of choosing pile number 1, some of you could have been like a pillar of light to others who are going through very dark times in 2023, 2024, 2025 as well. So for those of you that are leaning towards pile number 1, I wanted to say that too. And then for pile number 3, we have Break the Chain. And of course, Saturn does talk about those, and you can see this big stone structure that's been erected in the background, and just that one spot in the cave where we can find a way through. And that energy of kind of like cave dwelling and kind of finding our way in the dark and getting lost. That's very Pisces, in my opinion, and very Saturn about how do we break the chains that have tied our hands and feet in the past to staying in one place and being able to kind of move forward. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. You'll find timestamps in the description box below. And you're free to watch more than one pile if you feel so called to do so today. I can't tell you how many readings I've recorded in the last couple of weeks that the sound was wrong, it wasn't working. I had to throw away the entire reading. So, dear Lord on heaven and earth, dear Goddess on heaven and earth, please help get this reading out to my subscribers. And for those of you that have not turned on the bell notification, please do subscribe to all notifications. That way you can see my videos in your feed. I noticed that my videos haven't been showing up in feeds, I feel like, and I haven't made videos for a while, so I get it. But at the same time, um, it's a little crazy that like for some reason my videos just don't seem to show up in people's feeds anymore. But anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the reading. I'm gonna as you guys can tell, Saturn in Pisces was a difficult time for me. So let's go ahead. Definitely tested my faith in a lot of ways. So let's begin. Pile number one, welcome to your reading. We chose Pillar of Light for pile number one. Pillar of Light, pile number one. And whew, we need some hope, right? Walking into these days, walking into these new moments of truth and justice. Okay. And it says on your card here, it says your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. And Pisces is a very intuitive sign. And like I mentioned in the general part when I was talking earlier, perhaps some of you in pile number one were kind of helping others who were very lost during Saturn and Pisces. And believe me, there was a lot of lost and wandering souls during Saturn and Pisces. Oh my gosh. And let's go ahead and see for pile number one. Let's go ahead and see. Woo. We've got cards are running away. They are literally running away. Now I have to do the impossible and bend over. Pile number one. Ah. Man, oh man. I've got jelly fingers. Pile number one. Let's see. All right. Let's go ahead and see. Saturn and Pisces for pile number one. Okay, 10 of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Strength card. Yeah, I figured you guys were holding it down. We have Page of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Gone are the days of second guessing yourself. You've proved to yourself just how strong and capable you can really be. And when push comes to shove, pile number one, I feel you're the one with the solutions. You're the one that's standing up for others. You're the one with the plan, with the practicalities, with the details, with the plans, and you're standing up for yourself and others, I feel. Okay. And no more, like I said, no more second guessing with this Page of Swords on the bottom of the deck. No more second guessing your opinions, your thoughts. I feel like you're at peace and you prove to yourself through hard work and effort during Saturn and Pisces that you truly have the strength and power to push through any challenges or difficulties that come your way. Pile number one, okay? And let's check it out here. The violet flame. Oh my goodness, some of you were really channeling the violet flame during Saturn and Pisces. That's why other people were so drawn to your energy, to your strength, to your comforting abilities, to your way of making others feel calm and safe, comfortable, and grounded, and Page of Pentacles is very much an energy of like learning to ground the energy, learning to um, stay calm in situations where others are freaking out is what I feel. Pile number one is what you really had to learn those deep lessons during Saturn and Pisces. As we deepen on our spiritual path, step out of illusionary constructs and become empowered. Wow. Yes. Strength card. We step out of illusionary constructs. And I feel like you guys are the type of people that ask a lot of questions, but you may also question yourself a lot, or you may consider yourself like a forever student, um, or somebody that in the past maybe like really leaned on others for answers. I feel like you're getting so empowered from this energy. And I feel like you guys learn to hold others down and empower others during a very hard transit. Life presents more and more opportunities to grow than before. Your sensitivity will be heightening. Yeah. So it may be harder to spend time in places with certain energies. Yeah. And maybe some of you were it was very exhausting. 10 of Wands. And it just would sap the energy to be around people who um, were like very negative or very um, close minded. Maybe not negative, because everybody has the right to be negative every once in a while. I mean, we're not perfect, but people who are just very close minded, who don't want to find solutions and who always see themselves as the victim all the time. I feel like you guys are like, no, like those kind of energies. I feel like you're like, okay, ground yourself, be empowered, stand strong on your own. Okay. And some of you may have made some really big moves to go stand on your own. Okay. Whether that's getting your first, if you're younger, getting your first apartment for the very first time, leaving a relationship, going off to live on your own, um, leaving the company that you were working at and starting your own small business. Whatever it was, I feel like you guys really you set a good example for other people, pillar of light during Saturn and Pisces. And it could have been really draining, though, being around people who were always questioning you, who were very close minded, who were very their fears were constantly overtaking them all the time. I feel like you guys are kind of putting your fist on the table and you're like, no more. Okay. And you kind of were like, nope, I've grown out of that energy. All right. Do you have a range of accessible go-to practices for recentering, cleansing your aura, and protecting your energy field? Yep, that's the Page of Pentacles, those practical grounding techniques. A routine for psychic fitness will keep your aura strong and resilient. Yeah, strength card, strong, resilient energy, sovereign energy, and your vibration high, and see you through illusions that block or disorient. And like I mentioned, there was a lot of disoriented people during Saturn at Pisces, a lot of disoriented people. And it says, bring the violent flame into your meditation and self care practices for graceful rebalance. And maybe some of you even dealt with that a lot at work, like people who were very lost, people who didn't know what they were doing, people who had 1,000 questions. And I feel you're very empathetic to that, because perhaps, you had a moment when you were like that too. But, I feel like you guys are practical and strong, and you're empowered to find answers, and you're very long lasting as well. So you're not going to be intimidated, I feel like, into giving up. Pile number one. You will not be intimidated into giving up. And others find being around your energy very grounding, very reassuring, very empowering. Pile number one. We have freedom. Ooh, look at this little girl. She's about ready to jump on this white horse. She's like, I'm not waiting for the white horse. I'm jumping on the white horse myself and leaving. Okay. Free yourself from limiting beliefs and attitudes. Be an advocate of freedom so others can be free to pursue their dreams. And Pisces is such a sign of dreaming. And Saturn and Pisces can be such a reality check on, do our dreams actually stand up to it? Do we have what it takes to really make those dreams a reality? Okay. Unshackle the chains that bind you from being the person that you want to be. And it's like, no more excuses. I'm done with excuses. This is my life, it's my journey, and no one can live it but me. And I feel like, woo, good for you, pile number one. Ooh, cougar, leadership, pile number one. I have to give you a proper rar there. You have come on into your own power. This is coming under the strength card, the lion, cougar. Okay. You found freedom. You have now come into your own power. Now is the time to take the lead in a situation and be strong. Flex those muscles for me, pile number one. using the power of intentions, be clear with your purpose and define where you're headed. Yeah, no being lost, no being confused, no maybes, no, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just so confused. Where do I go? Some of you may have a job where you have to like direct people who are very like lost and confused, or maybe you had a job like that in the past where you had to like help people who would like show up with no plan, who were like very lost and confused. Okay. And you're like, I'll calm you down. I'll show you what you need to do. I'll help you. Okay. Real leadership. I can see why people are like so attracted to your energy during Saturn and Pisces, because it was such a wishy washy time. And look at you being so strong, staying stuck. Okay. This is where, yep, with the 10 of Wands, where we're like, I can't keep repeating old patterns. I can't keep second guessing myself. I can't keep questioning myself over and over and over again. Okay. I have what it takes. I'm just going to go for it. And some of you, this process of Saturn and Pisces has been this process of getting unstuck from that, okay, and taking that leadership role. We have unlovable, okay, and this whole thing of radical self acceptance and loving yourself and all your flaws. Yeah, that definitely is coming through with the strength card and that Leo energy of like being really proud of yourself and being really empowered in your vision of who you are and what you want, and also being very strong and powerful in your physical body and holding your head up high. Okay, not letting anybody bring you down or get to you. All right. And maybe in the past you were kind of stuck and feeling unlovable. Okay. And I feel like during Saturn and Pisces, you guys had to do the hard work to really push out of that energy and find new freedom and leadership in that. We have I am compassionate. Yeah, the violet flame, of course, pillar of light for others. It's your compassion that makes you shine, because you're like, I've been lost before. I know how it feels to be questioning yourself and be lost and not know. Okay, you're devoted to helping the greater good and have a strong talent for speaking up for others. Exactly. And compassion isn't just some weak willed thing that we sit around and twiddle our thumbs with and we start crying when we hear a sad story or watch a movie and eat bonbons on the couch. No, compassion is getting to the work of actually, helping others, standing up for others in a practical way, in a solid way. Compassion can be very fierce. And there is that element of what we call like fierce grace. I think the Buddhists talk about that sense of having a very fierce grace about you. And you have a great talent for speaking up for others, standing up for others, empowering others. Your soul is most satisfied when you are being of service. I am compassionate. Okay, yep. Especially for people who are very stuck and feel unlovable and don't feel good about themselves and keep kind of repeating the same patterns. I feel you guys have a lot of compassion for that. But I also feel like, you do your best to give others the tools to kind of stand on their own 2 feet, but to continually be in that cycle, I feel like you guys are like, no, I can't really like sign off on that. I can't really, um, I am compassionate, but I'm not like enabling. There's a difference. Okay. And yes, eclipse in Aries. Ooh, fierce. This was what I was talking about. Look at all the hands holding on to one another, supporting one another. Okay. Teamwork, boosting commitment, relationships, and teamwork through compromise. I've got your back. You've got my back. Okay. And, we're not in this alone. We're not in this by ourselves. Um, we're here with others as one big, human tapestry, which is very much Pisces. Like we're one big human tapestry and we're all here together. Um, and we all want to support one another. You know, but it's also about taking action. And that's where the fierce part comes through, where it's like, okay, um, I'm not going to get lost in this wishy-washy kind of, I don't know myself, I don't know where I'm going. Oh no, 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 no. I am going to take direct action and stand up for myself and others, okay? And truly, some of you could have stepped into management, leadership roles. Maybe Aries is very entrepreneurial. Some of you could have want to go that direction, or are thinking or going in that direction. Okay. But yes, you are compassionate. Yes, you are collaborative, but you're not giving people excuses to like stay stuck either. Okay. And we have adversity. Yep. I accept the challenges I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. Okay. And this is where you're not backing down from challenge. Pile number one. Okay. You look challenged straight in the eye, honestly, truthfully. Okay. You're not tap dancing around it, pretending it's not there. You're seeing it for what it is. You're admitting to yourself, this is really hard. Okay. 10 of Wands, day to day, showing up. This is a push every day. It's not easy. Okay. The work I'm doing, it's not easy. And every day I show up and I have to push really hard through these feelings of being stuck or being unlovable. And every day I have to show up for myself and prove it to myself that I can do it. And guess what, pile number one? You did it. You did it. Good for you. You're not a person that shies away from adversity or challenge. And the more you conquer, the more you feel empowered and strong within yourself. Okay. And the more that you conquer and empower within yourself, the more you become an example for other people as well. Pile number one. So, very, very good. In this case, I feel adversity really taught you about yourself and how tough you are, how strong you are, and how when you are tested, you do pull through. So, pile number one, I feel you had a very, very, very strong Saturn and Pisces period. And um, you know, I feel Saturn and Aries is going to just keep on going for you. So pile number one, good for you, and take care, my friends. Let's go ahead and move on to pile number two. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. You chose Align Your Life. And today's reading is about Saturn in Pisces, which we've had since about March of 2023. And we are now letting go of, and we will not see again until the next 29 years. So, for those of you that hated Saturn in Pisces and you're like, oh God, it was so bad, you won't see it again for another 29 years. You are good to go. We are moving into Saturn and Aries, but let's take a look at what happened during the last 2.5 years here. Pile number two, as Saturn went through Pisces, and what lessons were learned, what was gained, what was lost. Okay. And let's go ahead. We're having a funeral for Saturn in Pisces today. Pile number two. Okay. We're laying it to rest. And let's see. Just about there, pile number two. There we go. Four of Swords. Five of Cups, Ace of Wands. Okay, Queen of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. And so here's what I'm going to say, pile number 2. You have aligned your life. You are not what is not aligned or needs to change. Okay. And I do feel there's an energy here with the Four of Swords of kind of being on autopilot, but not being really that happy. Okay. And craving something new, something different, something more exciting. And, Saturn and Pisces did have that kind of malaise. You can't even think of how to say it right now because I'm channeling. But Saturn and Pisces had that very like kind of um, spaced out zombie out to lunch, not really connected with my life, vaguely unhappy, but I don't really know why. Um, kind of like not really like wanting something new, but kind of being mentally lazy about going about getting it, or kind of being mentally checked out, but deeply unsatisfied with some area of life, and like something is missing in life, like that sense, that ennui, that boredom, that sense that something is missing in life. Okay. And um with the Queen of Pentacles is making sure that the trains are running on time. Okay. So, with the Queen of Pentacles didn't flinch and didn't stutter. The Queen of Pentacles, she knows how to get down to business. She knows how to hold everything together. Okay. Um, but just because we're kind of like on the outside, maybe we look like we're flourishing, or maybe we do look like everything is kind of pulled together on the outside. On the inside, um like we could be making money, or we could be experiencing success with something, or we could be having a nice house, or we could be having these like traditional kind of um things in our life that show us like, oh, I should be happy, right? I should be grateful, I should be happy. But underneath it, we feel this kind of tugging, gnawing sense that something is just not quite hitting the same way that it did any before. Okay. And for some of you, this could be um, the stalling out of your like sexual life. For some of you, this could be the quiet resignation of like, well, things aren't going to change. And so I'm just going to pretend to be happy, but kind of ignore that I'm not. Okay. This could also be where you would try to do new things, like Ace of Wands, like try to maybe take a painting class, or take a this class, or take a that class, or kind of like try something new, or do something new, or get that kind of match lit, right? Like start that little fire kind of thing. But it kind of wasn't really working because your heart really wasn't in it. And it was just kind of like, maybe some of you felt like you were in kind of a blah period, even though you were craving something new, you didn't really know what it was. So these can be signs that our life is kind of like, and you can see the picture here where her face is kind of fragmented up into pieces, and it's kind of like, you know, I have what I need. I'm not like starving or anything. I've got food, I've got a kitchen, I've got a place to live, a place to sleep, whatever. I'm doing decently in my life, but I'm just not feeling it. Okay. So let's see what else, with the Five of Cups, it can really be like a spiritual ennui, or something that we're just like emotionally not feeling, or we're keeping something to ourselves. And or we're in like a grieving process, but other people are like, you want to go have fun, or you want to go do something, and you're like, no, I'm tired, no, I can't. Um, but really you just don't feel like it, type of thing, pile number 2, okay? And we have earth, nurture, nature. Ooh, and this is the Queen of Pentacles, right? With nurturing nature. No one can hold you the way nature can. Oh my God, all my witches, you feel that energy? You feel that, my girls and guys and theys and theirs who are watching this reading? No one can hold you the way nature can. Mama Nature is a powerful healer and transmuter of dense energies, okay? And we get into the Four of Swords. It's not like the Four of Swords bad or anything like that, but paired with the Five of Cups is kind of like, dense energies. She takes you in out of breath and can transform your woes if you can allow yourself to surrender and lie in her grassy arms and be embraced by her branches. All experiences, those categorized as good or bad, are part of the natural cycle that allows for the continuation of life. And we know about that natural cycle. We know about spring bursting forth with new life. We know about the fall time and the leaves falling and you know, the earth getting ready to surrender to winter, right? We know about those cycles of life and death. And trying to suppress or control will only bring you out of harmony, right? And the Five of Cups can be where we're trying to suppress what we're feeling. um and then, the Four of Swords could kind of be where we're trying to say, if we just pretend it's okay, or even the Ace of Wands could be controlling, where it's like, actually, I take that back. The Ace of Wands could be the controlling part of just try something new, try something different, do that pressure to do something new, try something new, even if you're not quite ready yet. Okay, trying to suppress or control will bring you out of harmony. Nature is all around you. Ooh, and you can see on the Queen of Pentacles, she's focusing on the pentacle, but look at all the nature around her. Nature is all around you. Notice her, okay? And when you feel like no one else can hold you, she can. Oh my God, that's beautiful. When you feel like no one else can hold you, nature has got you. Nature can hold you. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ooh, yep, sex. Okay. And I was talking about your sexual life a little bit with the Ace of Wands, and um, people just wanting to have a good time. It doesn't fill any need though. It doesn't make a person feel less empty, with the, I don't know. And sometimes we're just, we can feel like nature can also make us feel very sexual and very alive, but it depends on what phase we're in, right? With nature. Um, do you feel disconnected from yourself and others? Okay. And when you feel disconnected from yourself or others, there's not a lot of like sexual energy going on there. What do you need to feel more loved? Do you feel your needs are being met? Okay. And this could be somebody who wants to, have a sexual relationship with you, or somebody who's knocking on your door, who wants to do something kinky or fun, and you're just not in the mood. Or it could be, you don't even feel in the mood to kind of do things with your own self right now. You just feel kind of like focused on one thing. And for some of you, that could be work or money, finances, okay, that you're like really, really focused on, or just like day to day routines, um, one foot in front of the other type things. All right. Some of you could be feeling like Saturn in Pisces was horrible for your sex life, and that it really disconnected you from yourself or your partner or your libido. Okay. We have rabbit. Yeah, because the rabbit represents, I mean, rabbits, they like to go at it. And Ace of Wands is like, yep, rabbits, have that energy of like um constant fornication and fertility, but if you've been going through difficult times, okay, if you've been going through difficult times, though, it's hard to think about that and make that a priority. If you've been going through difficult times, it's time to think outside the box and find the solution. This is also a reminder to avoid neglecting your creative side. Yeah, Ace of Wands, like sexual energy and creative energy, they kind of all come from the same place, right? And for some of you, if you've been feeling like completely dead inside sexually and also creatively numb, perhaps you can kind of like pull like your creativity through as kind of like a way to maybe reinvigorate that aspect of yourself, right? If you have let creative projects lapse, it may be time to pick them up again. So a lot of you may have just like, you're like, I can only focus on one thing. I can't, I don't have the time or energy or the emotional stamina to be like working on all these creative things right now. And I'm just not feeling connected to myself or others. Okay. I feel like with the fire coming back here, Saturn and Aries, I feel like you guys are going to be motivated again. And some of you have a very clever way of putting things. You have a very clever writing style, or you have a very clever mind when it comes to creativity and sexuality and things like that, but it's been kind of like on hold. Okay. And we have unworthy. Wow, you deserve an amazing relationship. Take steps to heal doubts about yourself. Okay. And we have unsocial and unworthy. So this could be where you're just like backing out of plans. People are wanting to invite you. You're just like, no, you're staying home, kind of making up excuses, pulling back, staying quiet, like spending a lot of time alone, which is okay. Pile number two, it's completely fine. Um, but some of you may be like, that may be why you're feeling kind of like limp and lifeless about certain things in your life too. Because this like creative fire or spark or this kind of like wantingness to kind of be with others and be social has like gone away or died. Okay. And some of you may have anxieties about sexuality. You may not want people to see you naked. You may not feel, you may be like, I gained weight during Saturn in Pisces, or I wasn't feeling good about myself during Saturn in Pisces, and I don't feel like putting myself out there. That type of energy. Okay. And I do feel like a lot of healing. Maybe there was a lot of quiet time, a lot of alone time, and a lot of time that you needed to kind of like nurture yourself. Pile number two, so that you can kind of get back to who you really are, I feel. I mean, not that there isn't a side of you that's very deep and um, quiet and peaceful, because I do feel that there is that side of you too. Um, but I also feel some of you were just like not even trusting a lot of people during Saturn and Pisces as well. Especially like smooth talkers, people who are just trying to seduce or manipulate. I feel like it's like, no. Okay. And this is card 444. I am protected. Okay. And this is something that, maybe some of you are kind of like in your little protective bubble during Saturn and Pisces. And you're like, I just need to be in nature. I need to be natural. Maybe some of you didn't even want to wear a lot of makeup, or during Saturn and Pisces, you stopped wearing a lot of makeup, you stopped dyeing your hair, you stopped, I mean, I can tell you, pile number two, I stopped dyeing my hair during Saturn and Pisces. I haven't dyed my hair for over a year. Um, maybe some of you are just like putting yourself kind of like you're trying to be all natural, you're trying to eat natural foods, drink natural things, down to like your clothing, organic. Like you're kind of trying to be in this protective bubble, I feel. Trust your journey, trust your how your life is unfolding, and trust that you are where you need to be at the present moment. And I feel that is literally the hardest part of Saturn and Pisces for you guys, is trusting that you are where you need to be in the present moment. That because life tells us, like, unless we're at the beginning of something new and we're all excited and we're all like pumped up and we're like, yeah, 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 that like, people don't see a lot of value in the side of life where we kind of have to fall back and let the leaves fall from the trees and kind of let things die or decompose, or people are all about celebrating the new and the exciting thing, right? But sometimes we do need a quiet phase of like protecting ourselves and being one with nature. And spirit wants you to know that you're right where you need to be. Okay. And that whole feeling of in Saturn and Pisces that you're having, that you're in the wrong place or that you're not happy with your life and something is wrong with your life and something is wrong with you, and um vague uneasiness every single day. Like that is truly Saturn and Pisces operating in your life big time. Okay. And spirit just wants you to know you during Saturn and Pisces were exactly where you needed to be. Okay. Um, changes are coming. Pile number two, they are coming, and new sparks of new things are coming. All right. But for this time being of Saturn and Pisces, you did kind of need to be in your protective bubble. Okay. Yeah. And here we have eclipse in Pisces, right? So a lot of Pisces energy coming towards you guys. And some of you here, you may be Virgos, you may be Pisces. I was thinking actually of the mutable signs of Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. Some of you coming to this pile, you may have really felt it very strongly for those of you that have planets, major planets in those signs. Okay. But it talks about here, it talks about serving your higher purpose. And, there's a lot of, of that in Saturn and Pisces where we feel like we're not, because Saturn brings us down to the earth and Pisces is all like up in the dream world. So some of you could have been thinking, am I serving my highest purpose? Am I, or is this not right? Is this shit? Is this wrong? Okay? And it says free will on this card, okay? So spirit wants you to know you totally have free will. This is card 36 for those of you who are around that age, or um you remember what was going on in your life at age 36. If you're older than that, younger than that, if you're younger, then 36 could be a time to really look out for. Okay. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. It could be a time where you're thinking, okay, what is my highest purpose? And and if I'm not aligned to it, I'm going to swim in a new direction. And you do have free will. Okay. So spirit is saying you do have free will if you feel like you're not serving your highest purpose. But that's confusing, isn't it, pile number two? That's really confusing because it's like, okay, we have free will to change, but we're also told, Natalie, you were also telling me that I am exactly where I need to be in the present moment. Okay. And I kind of feel both are true for you, pile number two, which could be a real mind fuck. Like, it's kind of like, you know, this period of kind of churning that you've been going through and being a little bit lost. Like, am I serving my highest purpose? Why do I feel disconnected? Okay. And then that kind of is where you need to be in the present moment. So you can kind of not so that you can disconnect from yourself in that questioning, but so that you can really sit with the importance of that question. And some of you with the Ace of Wands, you will be taking a new direction. Okay. As we move further into Saturn and Aries, I feel some of you will be taking a new direction in your life for sure. Okay. And here we have gratitude. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that I have. Yeah, and that's Queen of Pentacles. And she truly is very grateful. Like, thank goodness I have what I need and I have the stability, and I'm grateful that I am able to pursue things. I'm grateful. And not just that you have the money or the time to do something, but also that you have the skill to do it, right? Because there's a lot of things in life that um, other people can't do. And it's not to say that they can't learn, pile number two, okay? And I want you to think about the skills that you feel very proud of and very aligned to, that you've put a lot of effort and work into learning. Okay, gratitude for your own self that you could learn to do that so well. And not everyone can do that so well, what you do. Okay. And to be truly grateful for the skills and gifts, right? Because it's not just, what we learn to do, but it's also like our natural born talents that we have too, our God given or goddess given natural born talents that we have that allow us to achieve the things that we have. And I feel like the Queen of Pentacles, she has like a lot of natural born talents that she can nurture into something greater. And I feel like that is a really important thing to be grateful for, even if one doesn't have the most money or isn't the most rich person or isn't the most, doesn't have the most, lovers or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. It doesn't matter. It just is like, okay, having natural talent and skill is actually something really, really cool to be proud of. So, pile number two, that is what I am getting for you, my friends. I wish you the very best. And thank you for coming along on that journey with me of looking at Saturn in Pisces again. And let's go ahead and go to pile number three. Pile number three, welcome to your reading. You chose Break the Chain, and today's reading is a pick a card reading about saying goodbye to Saturn in Pisces. And we had Saturn in Pisces for the last couple of years. Recently, Saturn went into Aries to stay there for good, and not for good, but at least for the next couple of years. And so, yeah, we are going to take a little look back at what were the major lessons of Saturn in Pisces for you, pile number three, and what can we let go of, and what can we say thank you for and move on from as we move into this next chapter. This is a funeral for Saturn in Pisces. Let's go ahead and see for pile number three, what were some of the major lessons of Saturn in Pisces for pile number three, please? Who chose Break the Chain? Breaking the Chain in pile number three. Ooh, we love that, don't we? Pile number three. It's such a beautiful imagery. We have Ace of Pentacles. Ooh, Ace of Cups. Oh my God. I was like, if we get another ace, oh my God, I'm going to Vegas and I'm going to hit the blackjack tables. No, I'm just kidding. We have King of Swords on the bottom of the deck. And let's take a look. So, you know what? Pile number 3, I kind of feel you were using Saturn in Pisces really to your benefit. Um, a lot of you could have had some really interesting, new, eventful, exciting changes happen to you during Saturn in Pisces. And it definitely was an opportunity to be more embodied with your body and your emotions, and to creatively express yourself fearlessly, and to not be so maybe cold or detached and in your head. And um whether that is new opportunities in work or business, whether that is your willingness to kind of get your hands dirty and really like dig into things, whether that is your ability to um, hold space, hold emotional space for others around you. Okay, I also feel your heart, your compassion, your heart chakra opening during Saturn and Pisces with this Ace of Cups here. And I feel like with the Knight of Wands, you were very tuned into yourself. Okay, you were very impulsive as well. Perhaps you did some things that other people were like, woo. I don't know. Um, some of you could have like not been like with the King of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Some of you could have been like disconnecting more from like the logical side of life and more into like the body and the physical and the expression of creativity, I feel, during Saturn and Pisces. Some of you could have really been led by your loins or led by your instincts and your impulsivity and kind of what you're attracted to and what you're like really burning for inside. It reminds me of that song by Blue Oyster Cult. It's an old song that goes, I'm burning for you. Da-da-da. I'm burning for you. Wow. Pile number 3. Pile number 3 is over here. Like, I barely noticed that Saturn was in Pisces. I was out here living. Good for you, pile number 3. Good for you. Living with your full heart, wearing that heart on your sleeve, okay? And, saying it with your full chest. I feel pile number 3 when it comes to life. And it's like, I'm going to enjoy life anyway. We don't know what's coming tomorrow. We don't know what's promised. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Best to live for today. Okay. And maybe some of you in the past were very much like overthinking, or you were dating someone or with someone who was very much an overthinker, very rational, um, kind of always like questioning what you did as silly or over the top or too impulsive. Okay. Or maybe in the past you were just a very rational person who was very like, this is the way kind of thing. And these days I feel like in Saturn and Pisces, you pulled a full Madonna, pile number 3. Like, I feel some of you reinvented yourself during Saturn and Pisces and made yourself into this whole new creature. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what else we have here. Transformation. Wow, just as I said, you turn yourself into this whole new creature. All right, go inwards and be present with wherever you are at in your process. Feel whatever you need to feel. Yeah, Ace of Cups. Go inward, be present. Ace of Pentacles. Ground yourself, quiet, peace, calm. Feel whatever you feel. Let the feelings come. Don't be afraid of the feelings. Go with the feelings. Ride with the feelings. It may be hard to be present with some parts of yourself, especially for those of you in the past who had people that were very judgmental of you or were very like negative towards the more like impulsive kind of instinctual side of life. It may be hard to be present with some parts of yourself. Bring them into a cocoon of gentle self love, Ace of Cups, and reflection. Insight will come. Shadows can be released. Yeah, and this Knight of Wands is like in a ceremony to like release shadow. And some of you, maybe you did go to a ceremony to release shadows during Saturn and Pisces. Maybe some of you were doing some very intense shadow work that other people in your life, they didn't really understand, or they didn't really get it, or they were like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm running across hot coals. What are you doing? You know, and you're doing some really intense shadow work. And it says, cry or be angry if this is what you're holding on to, and laugh at the ironic divine perfection of it all. Yeah, and the Knight of Wands is like really intense and emotional and really fired up. And it's like, you know, can be passionate and angry and demanding and full on. And maybe some of you discovered this very passionate side of yourself and this very raging side of yourself as well. And you're like, I'm just going to let myself rage. I'm going to let myself be passionate. I'm going to let myself go where my emotions want to go. I'm going to be like very, oh, my puppy. I'm going to be very like open. And if I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. If I'm angry, I'm going to be angry. I'm not going to let anything hold me back. Right. And it says, journey beyond your constructed outer self, where you can delve into the beautiful abyss of your being. And yeah, Saturn in Pisces was definitely the energy of the abyss, right? And if there's this whole thing of, oh, we always have to be this smiling, vibrant person, we can never be unhappy, we can never be angry, we can never like, hello, shadow work, hello, dark horse, hello, shadow work, definitely, okay? And revel in the twilight before the dawn and let your wings unfurl. Yeah, and that could be like dancing, like ecstatic, like dance, or um, you know, somatic, like screaming, even with the Knight of Wands, and then sitting quietly and letting the tears like roll down your face. I mean, it can be quite dramatic when we get into that Piscean territory, okay? And maybe some of you coming to this reading, your fire signs, or for the first time, you were really tapping into your emotions and your anger and your shadow work. And it's like, whoa. And, but ironically, at the end of it, it's made you a much more emotionally in tune and calm person than you were before, like at the end of it. Yeah, we have relationships here. Okay. And for some of you, the relationship aspect of Saturn and Pisces could have been really, um, you know, really hitting you hard. Okay. Or really, really coming through. Like, especially when I mentioned, you know, having a partner that's more judgmental or cold or always in their head. Um, and basically frowning upon like big kind of expressions of who one is. Okay. And, you know, having a partner who's like, oh, there you are, you're giving me a headache, you're at it all over again. And maybe some of you did leave somebody during Saturn and Pisces. Okay. Maybe some of you did let go of an important relationship during the last couple of years, and you're like, you know what? And I'm not fucking looking back, Natalie, and I'm not looking back. And yeah, you know what? I did ugly cry. And you know what? I did go to a shamanic drumming circle. And you know what? I did sit in meditation for like 3 hours and the tears started rolling down my cheeks. And you know what? I did experience a major transformation, but I finally broke the chain on some very intense relationship stuff that I had been um, gripping onto for a very, very long time. And I do feel Saturn in Pisces was like, maybe relationships were very hard during the last couple of years. Like, you would fall for someone or you would get involved in something, and then there would just be a disconnect, or it wouldn't work out, or you'd be kind of on your own, or, this type of stuff. And it says here, new partnerships are coming your way, pile number 3, and reassess your past relationships and leave them behind, especially those who do not support you. Be clear what you are committing to. Yeah. And Saturn and Pisces can be where we're kind of like, okay, I guess you can come back. Okay, I guess, it can be still continuing to talk to someone, or still continuing, like, not really maybe putting a boundary where we should be putting a boundary. Okay. But I feel like Saturn moving out of a water sign is kind of like no more kind of like lingering in the past. It's kind of time to move forward, because new partnerships are coming your way, pile number 3. Okay. That could be friendships, that could be, romantic relationships, etc. Butterfly, metamorphosis. Yep. Pay attention to the areas in your life or personality that are in need of profound change or transformation. You are about to enter a phase of expansion and growth, which will be highly beneficial for your future. You know what? And you don't need any tacky motherfuckers holding you back, pile number 3, while that happens. Okay. You don't need any losers riding your coattails while that happens. Um, a butterfly doesn't become its most beautiful colors by, um, just staying plastered to the wall, right? Like, the butterfly has to be flying free and, inspiring others with all its colors, and kind of like changing, right? And so, yeah, and sometimes when you're in that caterpillar, or you're in that phase, that metamorphosis phase, you have to be like cut off from certain people, and then you finally do bloom and you finally grow, right? But it's that change that's coming your guys' way. Butterfly, fear of loss. You're afraid of losing someone or being abandoned. Take a chance. Okay. And this is where, like, we'll almost do anything to kind of save a relationship, or, twist ourselves into a version that someone else wants us to be, because we fear losing someone. This can be where, like, there's just this fear and anxiety about not having this person in our life anymore. It's time to say goodbye to that energy. Pile number 3. It is time. Good frickin' bye. Okay. And we're not going to let this fear of loss hold us back from living our lives. Okay. It's time for transformation. It's time for change. New relationships are going to come your way. Do not let anybody slow your roll. Okay. Pile number 3, for sure. Fated to be alone. Okay. This is fear of loss and fated to be alone. And this can be like that sense of those fears coming up of Saturn and Pisces, those emotional loss, emotional fear. I'm always going to be by myself. I'm always going to be on my own. And, you can see here she's kind of like exploring the world by herself. It looks like she could be in Thailand or in Asia someplace, or traveling. I think of that like, uh, what's that called in Thailand, where they light all the lights and then they float up into the sky. I forget what that's called, but I feel like I'm seeing that right now, versus like a very gray and lonely place within, where um, we think that we're meant to be alone, but it's just not true. Okay. And some of you are kind of meant to travel. You're going to meet so many people in your life, pile number 3. N- Nothing is over. I'm especially talking, okay, I don't care what age you are coming to this reading. Life is not older. Life is not older. Life is not over. Okay. But I especially want to talk to my young people who are at this reading. And when I say young, I mean 40 and under. Life is not over, okay? You are going to meet so many people. You're going to change in so many beautiful ways. Um, Please, pile number 3, don't get stuck being afraid of losing someone or being afraid of being alone. And for those of you that started Saturn in Pisces feeling that way, but you're coming out of Saturn in Pisces feeling like, hell no, I will go travel by myself. I will go to a shamanic retreat and run across coals and bang on the drum. And I will metamorphosize myself and I will become the butterfly. Okay, good for you, pile number 3. Good for you. And if you're 40 and older, it doesn't matter. We all have the capacity to start again. So until we're not breathing on this planet anymore, we can all start over. I am adaptable. Yep. Thank you. Okay. And some of the people that you've been with in the past, they weren't very adaptable. They're very closed minded. Okay. Pisces is a mutable sign and it does teach us to be adaptable. And perhaps some of you learned this, like to be ready to move at a moment's notice, to be ready to go at a moment's notice, to pick up and do your thing at a moment's notice, okay? Flexibility is your forte. When life throws you a curveball, you can easily adapt to the circumstances and find excitement in the unexpected change. Oh my God, that is so Knight of Wands. Okay, flexibility is your forte. When life throws you a curveball, you throw the curveball back at life. Pile number 3. You're like, oh, life, you're going to throw a curveball at me? I'll throw you one right back. How do you like me now? Okay, and you are very adaptable. Even if it makes things harder for a certain amount of time, even if it is challenging, you are a very adaptable person. And you do go with the flow. And you are learning to be, I feel like, this flexibility that you crave, this excitement, this unexpected change. You're learning to look at it as like a positive thing instead of as a negative, pessimistic thing, like, oh no, I'm always going to be alone. Oh no, I'm never going to have anyone. You're like actually looking at it as a very positive thing, which is good. Pile number 3. And we have Sun in Cancer, focus on your home and love. Yeah, I was definitely picking up on that Cancer energy in this reading. And, that sense of wanting to be close to people, wanting to be connected to people, wanting to be, being scared of kind of losing someone that you're very like emotionally attached to, those kinds of things. Okay. And some of you could have been very tied to where you were, or very tied to your hometown, or very tied to the place where you lived. Okay. Or maybe some of you were living very nomadically. It depends, but we know those places in our life when we need to kind of focus on our home and making it beautiful and making it nice and comfortable for ourselves, while at the same time giving ourselves enough time to be adventurous and travel and do our own thing. And I feel you guys kind of get pulled between the two, pile number 3. Like, yes, you want to have a beautiful home. Yes, you want to, feel comfortable in your home. Yes, you want to be around the people you're comfortable with, and you feel a sense of home and connection and history with. Um, but at the same time, you also want to be like discovering new territory. So that kind of creates like a little bit of a tug of war. And maybe some of you did experience that during Saturn in Pisces. And maybe some of you did have to move a lot, or like move out or go different places a lot. And you're like, I just want to like focus on making my home mine and not anybody else's. That's cool. We have courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. Yep. And you know what? That's a huge thing, that we want to find, right? It's like, I love being home. I love having my safety and security around me. I love having the people close to me, but I'm also like not afraid to go out and strike out on my own and make a home for myself that's just mine, that's beautiful, that's just for me. And that is really a huge accomplishment, really. For those of you that moved out of an ex's house, or you moved out of your parents' house, or you moved to a different location during Saturn and Pisces, and it took a lot of courage to make that move. It took a lot of courage to go anyway, even if you felt alone or you felt scared at times. You still did it anyway. So, pile number 3, good for you, my friends. And I wish you all the very best. I hope you all enjoyed your reading today, and I hope everybody does take care.